A pair of Instagram influencers were caught driving through Alabama with $3 million worth of cocaine in their possession on June the 1st of 2023. 34-year-old singer and rapper Raquel Dolores Anteola met up with 36-year-old fitness entrepreneur Melissa DeFore in Miami. According to Anteola's account, they subsequently drove to Houston for a house party where they got very intoxicated before heading to Atlanta. After committing a traffic violation on Interstate 110, the pair were pulled over. During the traffic stop, a canine indicated that drugs might be in their black Ford Expedition. Officers combed through the vehicle and found 216 pounds of cocaine packed in 84 bundles hidden beneath the floorboards. The car had reportedly been modified specifically to hide the drugs. Anteola and DeFore were taken into custody on federal drug trafficking charges. They were booked at the Mobile County Metro Jail on $1 million bonds. They were facing at least 10 years of incarceration as punishment. Number 8. Camilla Marodin. In mid-November of 2021, Brazilian model and social media influencer Camilla Marodin was arrested on suspicion of orchestrating her husband's murder. For several years, military police had been investigating a criminal organization in the coastal town of Matosinhos in the Brazilian state of Parana. According to the commander of the Parana military police, the crime group was involved in such illicit activities as drug trafficking and money laundering. During the course of law enforcement's efforts to stop the organization in question, 39 weapons were seized and 14 suspects were apprehended. Police initially believed that Camilla's husband, Ricardo Marodin, was the leader of the organization, but on November the 7th, he was fatally shot in the middle of his son's birthday party. 4 armed suspects reportedly arrived in a silver Volkswagen Voyage and fired multiple shots at Ricardo, who died at the scene. Following his death, Camilla was appointed head of the organization. When questioned by police, the model told authorities that her husband wasn't involved in any criminal activity and claimed that his death was probably a case of mistaken identity. 3 days later, 2 former policemen were slain under similar circumstances. Camilla was arrested on the morning of November the 12th at her mother's residence, where a Glock pistol buried in the garden was recovered. Authorities then uncovered 13 houses worth more than $500,000 and 5 luxury cars belonging to Camilla. Additionally, suspicious payments to the tune of $240,000 were discovered in her bank account, which was consequently frozen. Prosecutors accused the suspect of trafficking, money laundering, and criminal enterprise. It was unclear if she was found guilty of the charges, but in the month following her detainment, Camilla was put under house arrest, during which she was ordered to wear an ankle tag. Number 7. Damari Makula. Florida social media celebrity Damari Makula told police that he could do whatever he wanted after leading them on a high-speed car chase on October the 29th of 2021. The 18-year-old, who had 4 million followers on TikTok, was reportedly driving his gray Dodge Challenger along State Road 54 in Odessa when he stopped at a red light. He proceeded to run the red light within sight of a nearby trooper in a patrol car. The trooper reportedly chased Makula at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, eventually following him back to his home. Makula was subsequently arrested in his driveway without incident. As police read him his Miranda rights, he flaunted the large amount of money he'd been making as an influencer, as though it might make a difference in his pending criminal fight. Before being taken to jail, the teen told authorities he knew he was being chased and admitted that his lifestyle wasn't a good way to live. Makula was booked into the Pasco County Jail and charged with eluding police with disregard for the safety of persons or property, reckless driving, and racing on a highway. According to the arrest report, he was released on an $11,500 bond the following day. Number 6. Maxim Layouti. Russian authorities detained the Sochi lifestyle influencer and his partner in early 2023 after their newborn child starved to death. 43-year-old Maxim Layouti, who was known for promoting radical eating habits, wanted to raise the child on a prana eating diet, which involved going without food and water and only feeding on sunlight. When the baby boy was apparently suffering from emaciation, the blogger and his partner, 33-year-old Oksana Mironova, attempted to take him to the hospital. Before making it there, however, the infant succumbed to starvation and pneumonia. After looking into the child's death, Russia's investigative committee launched a criminal investigation. In March, both parents were arrested. Layouti was detained for 2 months under suspicion of child torture, while Mironova was placed on a 2-month house arrest, accused of negligence. According to Mironova's family, she was a slave to Layouti, who was running a sect. Number 5. Mona Fayez Montrage. Over $2 million was swindled from older American men and women by 30-year-old Mona Fayez Montrage, the Ghanaian social media influencer who at one point between 2013 and 2019 had around 3.4 million followers, was involved with a group of con artists from West Africa who assumed fake identities to trick people into sending them money. They trapped victims in a romance scam using emails, texts, and social media messages, making them think that they were in a blossoming relationship. Under false pretenses, the scammers would have the victims transfer money to them. In one case, Montrage allegedly duped a man who believed they were married under tribal law into sending her $89,000 through several wire transfers. The millions of dollars collected during the course of the scheme was then laundered to other members of the enterprise. The efforts of multiple law enforcement agencies ultimately gave way to Montrage's arrest in the UK on November 10th of 2022. She was charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, and receipt of stolen money. On May the 12th of the following year, she was extradited to the US. 3 days later, Montrage pleaded not guilty in Manhattan federal court and was set to be released on home detention on a $500,000 bond. She was reportedly required to wear an ankle monitor. Her attorney told the New York Post that she was only permitted to travel in certain parts of New York and New Jersey while her case, involving 6 alleged victims, was pending. Number 4. Ray Diaz. 33-year-old California man Ray Diaz was arrested in 2019 after his own social media post caught the attention of the Los Angeles Police Department. Rumors of impropriety had swirled around the Instagram influencer since 2018, when he posted an Instagram video of himself kissing teen model Angelica Salek. The matter came to a head when Salek ran away from home in July of 2019, and her mother accused Diaz of having something to do with it. The mother posted a horrifying video clip on July the 5th in which Diaz was screaming at Salek as she sobbed. Law enforcement executed a search warrant at Diaz's home but didn't find Salek. Days later, she safely returned to her mother's home and said she'd been with Diaz. In an interview posted on YouTube, Salek claimed that Diaz had hidden her in a secret compartment under a mattress while police were searching the home. After the interview was published, investigators looked into the claims and eventually arrested Diaz on suspicion of assault. He was booked into the LAPD jail division on multiple charges that included unlawful intercourse, dissuading a witness from reporting a crime, and injuring a cohabitant. In connection with a separate incident that surfaced involving his girlfriend, Diaz was additionally charged with misdemeanor battery. He pleaded not guilty to the charges and posted his $500,000 bail. Number 3. Natalie Hodson. Shortly after 9 p.m. on August the 8th of 2022, Natalie Hodson from Boise, Idaho, was driving on Highway 55 when she collided with a pedestrian. Leading up to the incident, which took place between Beacon Light and Seaman's Gulch Road, 39-year-old Christina Rowley was standing on the side of the road as she checked the back of her trailer. Meanwhile, 33-year-old Hodson was driving her minivan and failed to notice Rowley and consequently plowed into her. Hodson continued to travel north after the collision, while emergency responders found the victim badly injured. Paramedics subsequently took Rowley to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. After being tailed by an eyewitness, Hodson pulled over on Suttle Lake Drive where deputies later interviewed her. She claimed that she thought she'd hit a mailbox and that prior to the crash, she'd consumed 4 seltzers. She was taken into custody and booked at the Ada County Jail early the next day. She was charged with vehicular manslaughter and leaving the scene of an injury crash. The social media influencer was set free after posting a $50,000 bond. During her arraignment on December the 15th, prosecutors alleged that Hodson was driving under the influence of alcohol with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.098, which exceeded the legal limit for driving. 2 weeks later, she entered a not guilty plea to the charges levied against her. After she waived her right to a speedy trial, her trial was scheduled for October of 2023. As part of the pre-trial release conditions, Hodson was required to remain in Ada, Boise, or Custer counties and wasn't allowed to drive or be in possession of drugs or alcohol. Number 2. Karina Lionel Gomez. Surveillance video captured 27-year-old TikTok influencer Karina Lionel Gomez and her associates carrying out robberies in Brazil. The group caught the attention of authorities in Rio de Janeiro, who began monitoring them in May of 2023. Investigators said that Gomez would try to get her targets to let their guard down before another member robbed them at gunpoint. On June the 7th, the security team at a bank in the Realengo neighborhood tipped authorities off about a suspicious car parked outside. Subsequently, police arrived at the scene, causing Gomez and her boyfriend, who'd also been involved in the robberies, to flee. However, officers apprehended them immediately and confiscated a .38 caliber handgun. The couple admitted to the robberies and disclosed the names of their accomplices. They remained in police custody while the investigation was underway. We have more videos lined up from a previous video after number 1. Stay tuned if you'd like to. Number 1. Yesim Iden and Simge Barankolu, 2 Turkish Instagram stars, were detained after being accused of defrauding hundreds of their followers through an online scam in 2021. Influencers Yesim Iden and Simge Barankolu would allegedly inform social media users that they'd won a cash prize, but could only claim it by paying a certain amount in taxes first. Iden and Barankolu, together with their co-conspirators, gathered more than $300,000 from at least 250 victims over a 6-month period. After law enforcement raided several Turkish provinces, they seized a number of mobile phones, computers, SD cards, and other equipment allegedly used in the scheme. The 2 influencers, along with 18 other suspects, were arrested on November the 9th of 2021. Iden and Barankolu insisted that they'd only accepted offers to do advertisements without knowing it had been an organized scam. In a statement, Iden said that she would have never taken part in any of it had she known that fraud was being committed, while Barankolu denied her involvement outright. As of the latest updates, Iden and Barankolu had been released pending trial following a court hearing on January the 7th of 2022. Number 10. Gabby Castillo. Reality star and influencer Gabby Castillo was arrested on January the 3rd of 2022 for her alleged affiliation with the Union Tepito gang from Mexico City. At the time of her arrest, 26-year-old Castillo had over 750,000 followers on Instagram and reportedly had plans to begin releasing music under the stage name Briella Sands. The young woman was accused of fraud and aiding in the trafficking of illicit substances, as well as taking compromising pictures of men with the intention of blackmailing them. 35-year-old Jose Jaref Soto Jimenez was arrested alongside Castillo. Police found hundreds of packages filled with illegal substances in their vehicle. Castillo was known to be dating one of Union Tepito's leaders, Oscar Andres Flores Ramirez, who was serving a 20-year sentence for murder and organized crime at the time she was apprehended. Number 9. Lorraine Cartier. On June the 30th of 2021, Lorraine Cartier, a 19-year-old influencer with over 100,000 followers on Instagram, was arrested in Barueri, Brazil, on suspicion of selling illicit substances. She'd initially been taken into custody a month prior to the June arrest, after law enforcement noticed her acting nervously during a police patrol, but she was subsequently released on bail. However, when Cartier moved without notifying the authorities, police raided her house, apprehending both her and her boyfriend, Andres Luis Santos Almeida. Officers in charge of the search discovered over 400 doses of stimulants and hallucinogens. Cartier was nicknamed the Kitty of Crackland, an allusion to an area of Sao Paulo popular among traffickers and drug users. She'd reportedly become known for carrying small packages containing individual doses of illicit substances in her underwear. In August, she requested to await the trial at home in order to take care of her 9-month-old daughter. Her petition was denied. On April the 11th of 2022, Cartier was sentenced to 5 years in prison in order to pay an $8,230 fine. Her boyfriend received a lesser sentence of 1 year and 8 months in an open prison regime. Number 8. Twitter and Discord scheme. On December the 14th of 2022, 8 Texas influencers were criminally charged for a scheme in which they artificially inflated the value of stocks and then profited off the loss of the followers that trusted their advice. Using a form of securities fraud known as pump and dump, the influencers invested in companies and recommended their followers do the same, after which they'd sell high on the inflated stocks. The perpetrators reportedly earned over $114 million through the predatory scheme. The Securities and Exchange Commission filed charges against Perry Matlock, Edward Constantin, Thomas Cooperman, Gary Deal, Mitchell Hennessy, Stefan Havatin, John Ryabarchik, and Daniel Knight. While 7 of the defendants operated via Discord and Twitter, Knight co-hosted a podcast that helped boost his co-conspirators' reputations as expert investors. Number 7. Kayla Massa. New Jersey influencer Kayla Massa was arrested on February the 13th of 2020 for allegedly scamming 45 of her followers out of a total of $1 million with the help of 9 other suspects. 22-year-old Massa, who used the Instagram handle KGoldie, had amassed over 330,000 followers at the time she began her criminal activity. The young woman reportedly posted social media stories encouraging people to contact her if they wanted to make money quickly. When followers sent her DMs inquiring about her proposition, she would convince them to provide her with their bank card information. To lull victims into a false sense of security, Massa would have them empty their bank accounts before requesting the information. Upon obtaining the sensitive info, she would deposit fraudulent checks from real businesses into the accounts and quickly withdraw the money, leaving her victims to deal with the consequences. Once the ruse was complete, she would block the account owners and cut off all communication. On several occasions, the businesses inadvertently involved with the fraud ended up suffering losses as well. Number 6. Bianca Chia. 40-year-old Bianca Chia was arrested on December the 31st of 2021 in Sydney, Australia, on suspicion of committing fraud. Chia, who boasted over 1.3 million followers on Instagram at the time, was apprehended by Border Force officials after the plane she'd boarded in Los Angeles arrived at the airport in Sydney. She was charged with publishing fake information to obtain an advantage, an accusation related to her online business, Sportalux. Chia had allegedly scammed investors out of over $1 million by inflating Sportalux's profits in her financial reports. A week before her arrest, Chia had attempted to justify her absence from social media by telling followers she was choosing to spend more time with her son. Number 5. Ryan Taylor. On November the 23rd of 2020, British influencer Ryan Taylor was arrested for pushing a BMW 3 Series into a river in Marbella, Spain. Taylor, aged 27, became popular on YouTube for his prank and challenge videos. Leading up to the incident in question, he'd purchased the used car for $500 in order to record a video documenting a road trip to Spain. Accompanied by several friends, Taylor filmed himself driving recklessly on roads, hitting a lamppost with the vehicle's door, and encouraging his companions to hang from the hood. The vehicle eventually broke down, at which point the group removed the license plate from the car and pushed it into a Guadalajara River, a location classified as a special conservation area. When video footage of the stunt surfaced, Taylor was charged with crimes against the environment and road safety, as well as document forgery. This wasn't the first time one of his videos got him in trouble with the law. In 2018, he broke into the house used for the filming of the show Big Brother, for which he was sentenced to 120 hours of community service. Number 4. North Macedonian influencer. A 21-year-old social media influencer from North Macedonia was arrested by Greek police on the island of Mykonos for trafficking illicit substances into the country. Her identity wasn't disclosed to the public, and all photos that were published featured her face blurred. The young woman, the daughter of an influential politician, was apprehended along with a known gang leader and his right-hand man, both of whom were in their mid-30s. The group pretended to work as concierges for local hotels in order to keep their whereabouts hidden from the authorities. Police confiscated over 437 tablets of designer hallucinogens and over 700 grams of other illicit substances, as well as motorcycles used in a trafficking operation, 3 phones and over 2,000 euros. One of the gang's customers, a Lebanese DJ living in Athens, who was in Mykonos for the summer, was also arrested but agreed to cooperate with investigators. Number 3. Tammy Stephens. From 2016 until her arrest in July of 2018, fitness influencer Tammy Stephens created 369 social media accounts to cyberstalk and harass 6 fellow content creators in Florida. The 37-year-old repeatedly contacted her victims over the phone and on Instagram, issuing violent threats, including a message in which she said she would slice them up into little pieces, accompanied by a picture of a woman holding 2 knives. Stephens also filed 2 fake police reports against her former business partner. She falsely accused a person who wasn't identified to the public of attempting to kidnap her daughter and claimed they'd left a headless doll on the porch of her home, along with a note that said, "New toy for the kids." In the end, Stephens was arrested in Pasco County for fabricating evidence, as well as filing a false police report. In September of 2019, she was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Number 2. Ezra Soy. 36-year-old Instagram influencer Ezra Soy assaulted an underage boy in Muğla, Turkey, on August the 22nd of 2021. The victim, identified only by the initials SB, was staying with his family in the resort city of Bodrum when Soy first knocked on his door. SB's parents had left the rented residence and the influencer urged him to let her in, claiming she'd escaped from an abusive boyfriend who would beat both of them if he found her. Once inside the house, Soy allegedly consumed illicit substances and attempted to perform an intimate act on the unsuspecting victim. SB rejected her advances and Soy left the premises just as his mother arrived. The victim filed a complaint against Soy, who was arrested on charges of assault of a minor. She denied the allegations, initially telling police she'd only gone into the house to charge her phone. Soy then claimed she'd fallen asleep and woken up with her dress torn, attempting to shift the blame and criminal responsibility on SB. On March the 11th of 2022, however, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the crime. Number 1. Jenny Ambuilia. Miami influencer Jenny Ambuilia and her father Omar were charged with bribery and money laundering on March the 29th of 2019. Police began investigating the social media celebrity after she posted several pictures displaying her lavish lifestyle, including her white Porsche Cayenne and red Lamborghini Huracan. Her father, who worked as a customs officer in Colombia's National Directorate of Taxes and Customs, regularly accepted bribes and used Ambuilia as an accomplice. Since 2012, he'd allegedly accepted millions of dollars in total in exchange for allowing shipments to enter Colombia untaxed. A portion of the money was used to pay for Jenny's tuition at the University of Miami, as well as jewelry, designer clothes, vacations to Europe, and a VIP pass to Coachella. During a family vacation to Colombia, authorities took the father-daughter duo into custody. Jenny denied the charge against her, claiming she'd used the earnings from trading services and an ice cream shop to pay for her luxurious lifestyle. After the arrest, authorities granted Ambuilia afforded house arrest while her father remained behind bars. Thanks for watching. If you could abolish one social media platform from existence, what would it be and why? Let us know in the comments section below.